My name is Harry Offers. I'm living here in Machias, a nursing home. I'm 90 years old. I was born in East Aurora, New York. We went to the draft board to see where we stood on the draft, and they had the letters on the desk to be mailed. We told them we'd been in Cleveland to the Air Force office, and they took our name as prospects for being pilots. After we finished ground school and we completed that, we started flying, and then you had to fly until you got your first checks. First check was 60 hours. You've been solo flying. Past that, then we go to the next flying school. It was a German, the bi-wing, single engine, very slow, very capable of plane. You couldn't get in much trouble with it. You could put it into a spin, take your hands and feet off everything. If you was up high enough, it'd straighten itself out, most of them, before they got down to the ground. You could hit the ground, but... And then after we got our wings, and when they sent us a twin engine, it was, we didn't know it at the time, but I ended up in a transport command. Troop transport, well, it wasn't transport, but it was flying cargo. And if you were flying with an instructor in the twin engine planes, the instructor sat behind the pilot. So he watched everything you did. And one of the things was, keep your head moving, because that was for fighter pilots, that they'd be always looking around if somebody coming after them. But of course, I didn't have that problem. But we still had to do it. And if you didn't move your head and keep looking every once in a while, when you got back to the flight room, I didn't have to do that. But some of the fellas did. They'd make you march around this oil can hanging, and every circulation you stop and salute it. A little embarrassing for the guys, but it got to be fun too. Well, I went to India, the China border, China-Burma, India border, and I was stationed there for about a year and a half, flying transports around India, mostly up in that corridor. Primarily, everything had to be flown into India because the Burma Road had been blocked off by the Japs at that time. They even flew gasoline in by barrels in the bigger planes. But we flew primarily people and merchandise or equipment and stuff in and people out. Going home maybe, or going to the hospital someplace. They were in combat over there. Primarily DC-47s, 49s, the same thing. That I flew. The bigger planes over there, that they flew over the hump into China, they were twin engines, but they go higher. They were C-46s, Curtiss, and four-engine planes they used on that. At night time, we'd be flying, we flew 24 hours a day. Pilots were at the next station, get there and you drop it off, another pilot take it on. And then the same way coming back till you go back to your home field. We'd listen on the radio at night. The fellows that are flying from India into China over the Himalayas, they loaded the C-46s fully with gas. All the gas tanks were full when they left. They get over there, they take the gas barrels off. They drain the tanks down to what the plane should approximately use to get back over the hump. Going back, it was in monsoon season or heavy winds. Those boys would run into a head speed. I would say they 80, 90 miles an hour coming over the Himalayas. Of course, they would use a lot of gas coming back that way. And you listen to them at night, these fellows were coming and they were getting low on gas and they didn't know where they were, and they'd be calling on the radio to get somebody to pick them up. Sometimes these fellows were screaming for information because they were so low on gas they didn't think they'd make it. Some of them didn't. But if we were flying and we got down to Calcutta, if it was right, we could overnight there. Then we'd go in the town. There was a restaurant run by some Dutch people, which was someplace we could go in to eat. And we'd go over there and we'd have a good meal. And maybe we'd find a bar someplace and we'd drink some beer. And then we'd go, next day get on that plane and go back home. Sometimes we can't arrange it to get there for a night. Say something's wrong with the airplane. So they have to check it out at night. But those are the tricks of the trade. It didn't happen very often, but if you did, they'd be on your back. I don't begrudge a day of my life that I got another education when I went in the Air Force. I was a high school graduate only. I didn't have the money to go to college, and I got a college education, really.